5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And it's live.
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Watch and subscribe on YouTube and listen on your podcast platform.
Good evening. Oh my God. It's been that long since we've done one of these. I didn't press the right button. How are you doing? Welcome along. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello. One of those will apply to you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us live here on YouTube. Leicester Till I Die TV, LTID TV. And it's the prediction show. Going to keep it very brief this week. Let's all get stuffed. Good night. See you next week. No, let's be honest with you, though. How true is that? Are you going Chelsea 1, Leicester 0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0, 6-0, 7-0? And I still don't think I've got up to Brad's score yet either. The excitement from last week, of course, we've not done this show for a few weeks because both my guests this evening have been otherwise engaged, but they've both got permission from their other halves that they can turn up tonight. Very good. Nice to have them back. They've been obviously doing scoring of their own. Let me say no more. But it's good to have them. It is the prediction show. They're going to kill me. Let's just get on with it and bring them in. Good evening, gents. How the devil are you?
Oh, it's good to be back, Chris. It's nice to be back on this one. And thanks for that £50 PayPal packet to dot your scores.
I don't need mine docking, and Wayne's got the excuse that he took over from another Wayne. There's only one person here that's got to defend how bad they're doing.
Yeah, although I'm starting to think, can we just do them by monthly scores? Because I seem to do better when I total it all up after a few weeks.
Surely not the 2 times Prediction League Premier League champion.
Well, yeah, but I can't win it for the third time. I just get boring. I have to have my Man City season. This is my burnout. I'm letting others feel better about themselves. So we get more people in next year, and then I'll come back and win it because everybody gets bored. One of you has got to be the Liverpool of the league, haven't they? So, I've got to let someone else win it. Yeah, like I said, Chris, they're only winning it because the top players aren't on form, like when Leicester won the league. So I'm just doing that for them.
Wayne, do you smell a bit of bullshit?
I think it's a question of Brad's paying it forward, mate, to be honest. He's sending out positive signals to the universe and he's asking you the question, can you rise to the challenge and beat him?
I think if we look at the table, mate, the challenge has been risen to. Let's not make any bones about it. Good evening to Ronald. How the devil are you, sir? I hope you are well. John's in as well. Hi, John. How are you doing? As is indeed Craig. Good evening to you all. Don't forget, everybody, do join in as we go through. If you could please just write the game that you are predicting, because some people, if we move on to a game quickly, and I'm giving you quotes from games that we were talking about before, or people that are joining late, please do just write down NFO, MCI, or whatever. Rico is in as well. Good evening, sir. How the devil are you? Welcome along. Let us have a look at the table, shall we, and see how it's looking. Hang on. Hang on. I'm put myself to the bottom because I'm trying to be on level with Brad here in the table.
Yeah, you keep it going. You did this the last 2 years we were in the Premier League, Chris. And what happened come the end of May? Who was above who? Well, still time.
But you started this season at the top. Have you ever felt like you're in a very terrible family Christmas, Wayne, where your dad and your uncle are arguing?
Yeah. You love to make him squirm. You love to wind him up, don't you, Chris?
Well, it's so easy this term. You know what I mean? I mean, he's had a few weeks where he didn't even show his face. That's all I'm saying. That is all I am saying. I've got to say, Brad, what the bloody hell is Nate up to? Nobody. I mean, Spencer, he has fantastic weeks, and yet he still can't catch Nate.
No, he doesn't, because Nate is just powerhousing through. He's either keeping himself there or thereabouts with Spencer, and or he's even having better weeks. So it just shows you just got to keep powering through. I mean, there hasn't been too many changes between the top. Doug, Championship champions, making a late surge.
He has got right back to me. To be honest, he has gone up again.
He has, and I know I'm down in 12th, right? And I'm doing the worst collectively over all of us. But the one who had the worst week from the LTID originals, Chris, that's me, you, and Craig. What was the calculations? Oh, it was Craig. Craig had the worst over the 4 weeks. Wayne would have had the worst overall, but he only gave me 1 week's prediction, so that's why he's gone up a whopping 4 points in 4 weeks.
He had an excuse. Twitter.
I'm using the Ruud van Nistelrooy model of letting it all go to shit, basically.
Well, no, in fairness, you weren't given a good start because you did take over another Wayne's, but
he only added 5 points to it since then.
Thing is,
like Ruud van Nistelrooy.
I remember Wayne saying to me, like, I really enjoy predictions. I'm good at this in my prediction league.
I know.
But obviously, just tell me, Wayne, a bit of a quiz question for you here. So what's the difference between, and we'll call it Twitter to make it easier, a Twitter post and a Twitter message?
In my world, inverted commas, I think it's the same thing, Chris. And I've got logic behind it, and it's the same logic that I use in the predictions is kind of pin a tail on the donkey and hope for the best,
Yeah, well, I gather. Nate, talking of Nate, who is running away with this at the moment. Good afternoon to you, Nate, from America there. Hope you're having a good time and hope you're not getting too much of a nosebleed. You've been at a top virtually from about week 5, I think it was, and you are doing what we would normally say is the Man City, but obviously not this season. And Prashant is in as well. Right, should we make a start on this then? Because I haven't predicted anything yet, so I'm just going to make it up as I go along. And we will start, and there's all the games, and why not? I'm going to start with Nottingham Forest, Man City, TNT Sports. It's the first game of the weekend. Nottingham Forest, Brad, surprise Premier League, Champions League challengers against Manchester City, who aren't doing so well at the moment. Nottingham Forest did have a struggle in the FA Cup, of course, only just managing to get through on penalties. But their recent league games, they drew with Arsenal, which has probably just about buggered Arsenal's chances up. They did lose to Newcastle in a 4-3 thriller. They lost to Fulham, but before that, they put 7 past Brighton and Hove Albion. But the week before that, they lost 5-0 to Bournemouth. Sat in third. Is the wheels coming off the Trent bus wagon?
I mean, it is in the sense that they were for about 3 weeks hyped up as they're doing a Leicester. I mean, spending 200 million to be sat in third and about 20 points off Liverpool. If that's doing a Leicester, then so be it. I am glad that tag's gone off them, and I'm sure they're glad that tag's gone off them in a way. But it's still an impressive season. I mean, I think the week before that Bournemouth game, Chris, they got absolutely that Brighton game, sorry, they got turned over like 5-0 or 5-1 by Bournemouth, didn't they?
They did indeed. That's what I said. Yes.
I know. So that's what I mean. That shows you the bounce back ability that they didn't take on a mug Brighton side. They didn't take on a former Graham Potter managed Brighton side when they're down at 14th, because that was what Brighton did under Potter. They took on a team challenging for European football. So, they're having an impressive season, whether you like to hear that or not. It's tough. That is facts. But they have been dropping off as late, Chris. And if you want to say they're doing a Leicester now, they're probably doing that self-imploding Leicester that dropped from 2nd to 3rd to 4th and ended up 5th. I would laugh at them a little bit if that happened.
Well, before we come to your score, let's take a look at Man City, Wayne. Sat in 4th, 1 place and 1 point behind Forest. They're making their usual possibly late run. But it's probably too late this season. They beat Tottenham 1-0 out last time. They lost to top of the league, Liverpool. They put 4 past Newcastle. Arsenal stuffed them 5-1, but they beat Chelsea 3-1. Again, it's such a up and down season for Man City. I mean, would you say a message to a few other managers around the Premier League that Pep ball isn't working like it used to?
Yeah, I mean, with Pep, I do think there's better modern managers about, and Enzo is doing it to the letter, and I think he's struggling now. Well, he struggled in the Championship, he's struggling again in the Premier. I mean, Man City, they tried Grealish, that hasn't really worked out for them, has it really?
No.
Ake's just got a foot injury. Rodri, after winning the Balloon d'Or, got injured, and he was crucial. Haaland stuttering. And they're only just winning games, really. And the victories, they weren't very impressive. But I do think they have closed the gap on Forest. And I think Forest are losing momentum. They hammered Brighton 7-0, did they, something like that? And then the got thumped. Yeah, so Forest, I think apart from Woods, you've got Elliott Anderson who plays for England call-up. But I think it's Forest for me. Do you want me to give me...
Well, no, we'll go back to what we'll do is we'll get Brad to discuss the home team, you the away, and then we'll get.
Oh yeah, no worries, mate. All right.
We'll do it that way. So, Brad, which way are you going?
This is probably the most difficult one of the week to really have a set favourite or a team that you really stand out on thinking they're going to win. Because just like you said, the contrast of both teams' forms throughout the season. However, my hatred for Nottingham Forest has shone through a little bit here. I've gone for the away win, and I've gone Nottingham Forest 1, Man City 2.
And Wayne?
Forest 2, Man City 3.
Oh, well, a high-scoring game there. You've both gone for Manchester City. I am going to make everybody, I hope Jesse is handy because Brad's about to get a hard-on. Because I am going to go Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester City 2.
We're back and he starts with a Desmond. That's things you love to hear, Chris. It's not true what I say about you. I love that.
I told you, didn't I? I told you he was going to... Jess, are you there? Go on and help him out. I just think that you said it, Brad, is a very hard one to predict. It literally... At the end of the day, if you said to me, well, Forest have won it or Manchester City have won it, it could go either way for me, which is why I've sort of gone down the middle. Cheers, Brad. He's holding his laugh up there.
Cheers, yeah. I had the placemat just stuck to the bottom of it and then it just yeeted itself out. Just dropped itself.
Well, everybody's agreeing with you. No, they're not actually. But Cray's gone 2-1 to Manchester City. John, who usually does my homework, he's gone 2-1 to Manchester City as well. Rico has gone 3-0 to Forest. Interesting. But Blue Fox, good evening, sir. How are you? Look, I love the cut of this man's jib. He's gone 2-2. What?
Oh, Chris is frozen.
He was about to say something very important to them.
No,
Sorry,
Chris
Wayne.
never says anything. You completely froze.
Yes.
Froze from me, Wayne. So he was about to say you were saying something important. I was about to correct him and say Chris never says anything important.
No, I have a lot of windows open, and my computer is saying we don't like that. So it did just cut me off. But no, I'm just saying how Blue Fox is such an insightful and clever person. That's all I was saying. Just leaving that there. Right. Okay. So the next game, Brighton hosting Fulham. Brighton in 8th, Fulham in 9th. So another tight one here. One place, and again, only 1 point between them. Earlier in the season, Fulham put 3 past Brighton, and we know how good Fulham were at the start of the season, though. Brad, Brighton's results recently: Bournemouth, they beat 2-1. They put 4 past Southampton, but sorry, Southampton, who doesn't. They beat Chelsea 3-0. They lost 7-0, as we saw just now, to Forest, and they lost to Everton 1-0. Thoughts on Brighton?
Brighton, again, they're handling the challenges of trying to compete for European spots. You know, they were in Europe last season. They're looking to be up there again. And I feel like with how well, you know, a few teams are doing, that they're probably playing an opposition that are going under the radar, because Fulham are like, they're the equivalent of a championship team in 10th. You don't think they're doing much, but they're just quietly going about the business, catching up to the top 6. That, like you said, Chris, 8th and 9th respectively. They're not a million miles apart, and they're probably not a million miles off 6th place either. So it's going well for them. But Brighton have surprised me. I thought this appointment was risky. He's 31 years of age. It was one of them where, you know, you either get rich or you die trying sort of thing. It could have gone miserably wrong. Thankfully for Brighton fans, it hasn't. You know that no longer sat there watching drab 1-1 draws, although I take that right now as a Leicester fan. But they're seeing exciting games and exciting scorelines. Fulham weirdly seem to do a little bit better away from home than they do at home. That would probably be wrong, but I don't like stats, do I, Chris? So you'll tell me I'm wrong or right.
Well, let's look at Fulham with Wayne. Fulham last 5 beat Wolves 2-1. Well done, Fulham. They lost to Palace. They beat Forest 2-1. They beat Newcastle 2-1, and they lost 1-0 to Manchester United. Both these teams, I think, would have been hoping to have been higher than 8th or 9th after the start. They've both kind of gone off the boil. This one's a difficult one to predict as well. Can you see Fulham doing anything here?
Yeah, very close, very close. I think both these teams wanted to get into Europe. A Brighton fan I speak to regularly says they were going for it this year. I'm going to try and keep the really good players. Fulham, he's got some great players in that side. Raul Jimenez worked his socks off. Really clever, can finish all sorts of goals. You've got what's the guy from Arsenal? Smith Rowe. You got the Anthony, the American guy who's just a powerhouse. He's just a fantastic player. You got Torre. You got some brilliant players, and he's a really good manager. And I think he's had a bit of a blip, but the form in the last 5 games is brilliant, really. And if they carry on like that, it could get quite interesting, couldn't it, for the Europa League? And yeah.
So let's go score predictions, Brad.
Well, after saying that Fulham probably do a little bit better away from home, it shows why I'm doing so bad in the predictions league, because I'm going against my gut. I've gone Brighton 3, Fulham 1.
Oh, okay, interesting. Wayne.
Brighton 2, Fulham 1.
Well, you've gone for a win for Brighton as well. Well, I tell you what, we'll make it a full house because I've gone 2-1 as well. So we've all gone, but a lot of people.
I can't wait for Danny Welbeck to score on the 96th minute after you messaged me saying.
Don't you just know it, eh? John, well, look, we've got the Desmond. It's Desmond time. Brighton 2, Fulham 2, says John. Blue Fox has gone 1-1, and Craig has gone 1-1. So there's people here not thinking that there'll be a winner in this game. Ronald says, how did we let Bassey go to Fulham? He was probably offered a Goldfinger. No? Okay, I'll move on. He'll probably score again and Fulham will win 1-0. I try. You could say God loves a trier. Right. Shall we move on quickly?
Yes, please.
Yeah. Palace Ipswich. Now, we know we love Palace, don't we? We want Palace to do us a favour here. Brad, let's have a look at Palace's results. Well, Palace are sat in 12th. I mean, at the start of the season, they were one of those that were down there. Before we had, the clown in charge, Palace were part of the relegation battle. Of course, now they're safe. They're 12th. They've got 36 points. Nothing to play for, you could say, for the rest of the season. Ipswich down with us, down there in 18th, same points as us, 17. Earlier in the season, it was Ipswich 0, Palace 1. In their last games, beat Villa 4-1, which was a bit of a shocker. They beat Fulham 2-0. Then they went and lost to Everton. They beat Man United 2-0. And they lost to Brentford 2-1. I think that sums everybody's season up this year in the Premier League. You win one, you lose one. You win one, you lose one.
Yeah, you do. But Palace have been a bit of a reformed side. They were a side that, under the likes of Roy Hodgson and Vieira for his short stint in charge, they've just gone stale, haven't they, Chris? You could. I don't know if you did when you did your table predictions, but you usually could go 14th, 15th place, and that'd be Crystal Palace. Then that's what they'll be, because they'll just do enough to stay up, but they won't do anything. They won't pull up trees. Whereas they seem to be going on that little bit of a, nice little run to really propel themselves away from danger. They had a bit of a cold start, but they're looking good. My only concern is, and this may hint where I'm going. I'm not going to say anything, but it may hint where I'm going with this game. My only concern is every time Ipswich seems to get kicked and battered and bruised, they still don't give up the fight, unlike Leicester. I mean, against Man U, you'd say, oh, well, that's got to be another nail in the coffin. You can't get a point against, can't hold on against Man U with their season when they've got 10 men and you not only draw it, you lose the game. That's surely going to kill them off. But I could just see Palace, Ipswich fighting this game. But Palace, credit to them. They seem to be building something that they'll want to build on next season and the seasons going forward.
Wayne, has Brad left you anything to say about Ipswich?
Yeah, they've got lots of injuries, haven't they, Ipswich? Smorix is just out. He's out for surgery. Hutchinson, who's a brilliant midfielder, he's been out for a while. Calvin Phillips is still got to come back. So they have had some significant injuries of some key people that McKenna probably thought would basically, that might have been the difference between sort of Ipswich being out the bottom three. But they have lost 5 losses and 1 draw in the last 6.
Oh, yeah. I mean, sorry, I haven't gone through that. They lost to Man United, unluckily, you could say, 3-2. They lost to Tottenham 4-1. They got a point off Villa. They lost to Southampton, and they lost 4-1 to Ipswich.
Yeah, and to be honest, they're playing a Palace side like Brad. I love Palace. When you think we played them and we were robbed, we was robbed at 2-2, with the Cody coming on. And look at what they've done since. My goodness me. And if they win a couple more, they could be, sniffing. They're only, 6-7 points away, sort of from... Yeah, they could be up to where Brighton is if they get a couple more results. So, yeah, Palace are 2. I've got... Do you want prescription?
Well, no, we'll go back to, like I say, what we'll do is we'll get Brad talking about the home team, you talking about the away team, then we'll go back and get the predictions. So, Brad, your Palace Ipswich prediction.
Chris, you're not going to need Viagra tonight because this is going to get you so excited.
You don't know me, mate. I needed Viagra all my life.
Well, this might help boost the testosterone levels. Because I'm going for a Desmond. I'm going 2-2.
Hey!
I can just see Ipswich sneaking something. Palace foot off the gas, bit of pressure building, trying to catch that top 6. Go to hard Ipswich, nick a point.
It does show, doesn't it, though, what you do when you don't change your manager.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was a big call for him to go. But he's really worked. I mean, they've got some great players. Even the one that got sort of poleaxe at the weekend is doing so well, and he was viewed as a bit of a. Why can't we have a Mateta? Why can't we have somebody like Mateta, Chris?
Well, if we did, he wouldn't get in the team, would he? Let's be honest with you. But your prediction here, Wayne?
3-1, Chris.
3-1. Wow. Can I just say, I know sort of it is off topic because he no longer even works for us, but Steve Cooper's got a new job.
Does he?
Yeah, he's working as a match assessor for UEFA.
Oh, poor sods.
Yes, and there's nothing corrupt about UEFA, is there? Allegedly. I'm agreeing with you, Wayne, not on the score, but in the outcome. It will be tight because Ipswich, let's be honest with you, they show what Leicester don't show, and that is a bit of fight. I'm going to go 1-0 to Palace. John's gone 2-0 to Palace. Craig's gone 3-0 to Palace. Blue Fox, I did think about going 2-1, but I'd just gone 2-1, so I thought I'd go something different. I despise Simon Jordan, but I hope his side beats Ipswich to do us a favour. I don't think when you say things like that, he's going to want them to. But he's gone 3-0 to Palace, so not many people giving Ipswich much of a chance there. Now, the next 3 o'clock kickoff is Liverpool are hosting Southampton. It's the last of there's only 3 o'clocks. Honestly, what is the point of having a TV blackout at 3 o'clock when you've only got 3 games? Really? Come on, Premier League. Sort yourselves out. Top versus bottom here. Liverpool in first place with 67 points. Southampton in bottom with 9. Earlier on in the season, it was a tight game, actually. It was Southampton 2, Liverpool 3. Since then, obviously, Southampton have done a Leicester. They got rid of a half-decent manager that kind of knew what he was doing and got a clown in charge. But Liverpool, Brad, beat Newcastle in the week 2-0. Last week, I should say. They beat Man City 2-0. Aston Villa got a draw with a 2-2. We beat Wolves 2-1. And it was, of course, 2-2 in the Battle of Goodison Park. Can anybody stop Liverpool?
Not winning the league, but they can stop them winning every game because that's, you know what, Chris? I'm going to be one of them right now. I'm going to be one of them moments, throw my toys out the pram. Liverpool might be winning this league. There's no doubt they're going to win it. But they're only winning it because other teams aren't doing that well this season. They ain't doing it because Arsenal aren't on top form. Man City aren't on top form. Because that's the only way you win a league, apparently, if you're not Man City and you're not getting 90-plus points. Having said that, I think it'd be harder for Liverpool to drop points against a Sunday League pub team that have been on the piss since Thursday than it would be anything happening to Southampton. But Chris, they're not going to score 3. They're not going to score 4.
Well, hold on to your prediction.
Okay, yeah. Wayne, tell everybody how bad Southampton are.
Yeah, go on, Wayne. We all thought it was a joke when we said there's no way they're going to do worse than Derby. But, we say you can't see Leicester getting any more points till the end of the season. I'm not sure you can with Southampton. Chelsea put 4 past them. Brighton put 4 past them. They did beat they lost to Bournemouth 3-1 in the South Coast Derby. They beat Ipswich 2-1. And they lost to Newcastle 3-1. Are they actually gonna break that 11-point record?
That's quite cruel to say that, Chris. That's quite cruel to say that. Yeah, to to be honest,
I just want them to be in the same division as us next season because I can get to that game.
Exactly. To be honest, I mean, I say them and Leicester are the same in the same mental headspace at the moment. So they're just, the heads go down really quick, and like you said, Ipswich are different. They have got fight, and Southampton, they are really poor. The Shunter got rid of Russell Martin because he knows what he's doing in the Championship. You look at Dealey Smith, and she never went crazy, when Norwich came up because she understood you need long-term financial stability. And Southampton, I think they could go down and down maybe because the spirit in that side is really low, like the spirit in our side is really low. And that's from the manager.
Do you mean the Delia Smith that lives at 15 Lettsby Avenue, Norwich City? Yeah, all right. Moving on. Brad, Southampton in the same position as Leicester, but which way are you going to go for? What's going to be the number here?
Oh, Chris, Southampton have conceded 4 twice in the last few weeks. And if you add 4 to 2, you get 6. And that's how many goals Liverpool are going to score. And Southampton will score as many as Leicester do in the last 2 games. None. It's going to be 6-0 Liverpool.
In the last 2 games? I think you could say about the last 9 games.
I just wanted to be safe and not someone go, no, we scored a goal against so-and-so. But like, when?
I think if we did, we all blinked and missed it. Wayne?
Liverpool 4-1, Chris. I'll go quite conservative.
Right. Well, I started at 2, but then they do concede.
You realise it was more than 45 minutes?
Yeah, I've ended up with 3-0. I'm being kind to Southampton. I think Liverpool may get to 3 and just take their foot off the gas and think, look, we've got other fish to fry. So that is the Liverpool Southampton game, which is the last of the 3 o'clocks. Sky Sports present the next game. I said what I did, didn't I? Which is Brentford versus Villa. Brentford currently in 11th. And would you believe Aston Villa in 10th? Another one where there's only one place between them. But there is a gap of 4 points. 3-1 earlier in the season to Villa. But Brentford, Brad, drew 1-1 with Everton. Put 4 past us, who can forget that. We're trying to beat West Ham 1-0, lost 2-0 to Tottenham, but they beat Palace 2-1 in another London derby. Villa on a bit of a fall at the moment, but can Brentford take advantage?
Yeah, they have been on a bit of a fall. I mean, a bit like their opponents, which is why they're probably so close in the league. Villa are a fair few places higher, but Brentford have maybe started to run out a little bit of gas. It feels like the engine's stuttering. It kicks into life when it plays someone like Leicester and really fires on all cylinders, but it's not always cutting the mustard when the games are a lot tougher than Leicester away. Villa, however, do have the curse of playing in Europe and then doing badly through the league games. We saw them do us no favours at all when they played Wolves, and I think that was just after a European fixture or a midweek game. It seems they just don't like playing midweek at all, do Villa. So I'm feeling a bit stupid here, but take over before I forget me role with Villa for Wayne.
Yes. I wasn't listening then because I'd realised I hadn't put people's scores up for Liverpool Southampton. So just running through that. Wayne, Aston Villa, well, it looks like they could be a one-season wonder. 4-1, they lost to Palace. They did beat Chelsea 2-1. They drew 2-2 with Liverpool. They could only draw 1-1 with Ipswich, and they lost 2-0 to Wolves. There was a joke, wasn't there, that if Villa were in Europe, then they would lose the next game. But, the 10th, I mean, this time last season, I think they were 4th or 5th. They certainly have gone off the cliff, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, but they are playing in the Champions. When we won the Premier and we played in the Champions League, our season was woeful. My God. So Villa just suffering from that. I think they've signed Asensio and Rashford, which are two brilliant players, if Rashford's on his game. And you've got to admire Villa. And I don't think, because Villa have not got the massive squad that the top sort of 4 or 5 have got year in, year out. I think for them, you've got to say, if you're a manager, if we can finish mid-table, but really have a good go at the Champions League, that you've got to take that opportunity, haven't you? We lost against Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals, who went on to win it. So we played very well in the Champions League. So I'd say Villa, they're on the league double against Brentford as well. So I think Villa are doing really well, to be honest.
Interesting. I suppose Villa will, I'm just waiting for Yuri Tillemans to decide he's had enough to play this season and just, take his boots off for the last few games. Not holding any, anything against him there at all. I've got over him. Not. Brentford Villa, Brad.
Yeah, like I said, I feel a bit foolish because I was the one that really pointed out the obvious Villa flaw is to kind of to continue the phrase, doing a Leicester in the fact that they can't handle both competitions. I know they're not as bad as we were, but they are falling down that table. So stupidly, I've gone Brentford 1, Aston Villa 2.
Oh, okay. Wayne.
Brentford 1, Aston Villa 3.
Oh, thank God for that. I mean, what am I?
Yes, I hadn't frozen, don't worry. I'm torn between a Brentford win and a draw.
I thought you were going to say you're torn between a Brentford win, a draw, or a Villa win.
Well, I am, but I didn't like to say that. I'm going 1-1. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going 1-1.
Oh, yeah. I was off, all right, weren't I?
You were holding out for another Desi, weren't you? John has also gone 1-1 Brentford Villa. Craig's gone 3-1 to Villa. Blue Fox has gone 2-1 to Villa, and Prashant's gone 3-2 to Brentford. So a bit of a mixed bag there. And of course, let's not forget that that is on Sky. It's a 5:30 kickoff on the Saturday night. And guess what, guys? Guess what? We've got an 8 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday night.
Woohoo!
I know. How did you control your excitement? Wolves are hosting Everton at 8 o'clock, and this one is at the second game of the day on TNT. Everton, would you believe 16th are playing 17th? I mean, how many? You couldn't write this, could you? How many teams are playing that are with each other? A bit of difference in points here, though, because Everton have got 32 points. Wolves have got 22. Earlier in the season, pre-David Moyes, as you could describe Everton's season as, put 4 past them. Wolves, Brad, I know Wolves are your dad's team. They lost to Fulham 2-1. They beat Bournemouth 1-0. They lost to Liverpool 2-1. They beat Villa 2-0. They lost to Arsenal 1-0. But they've no Cunha.
No, they've not. That's probably been the big talking point. They've lost Cunha for 3 games as well.
Well, it might be more. The FA,
it might be more. However, Chris, it's still going to prove irrelevant from a Leicester's point of season, because I know up next they've got Southampton, so they could have 7 Cunhas out and they're still going to beat Southampton next week. Let's face it. Like I've already said, I think shockingly 22 points could keep you up this season, and barring Ipswich getting some better luck out of their efforts, or a miracle happening with Leicester, that could have them safe. And that gap has a big potential to get even bigger, especially if Everton look at the table and go, you know what, Super Moyes back at the club, we can put our feet up. We can put on a show. We can play some fancy football, and it backfires, and Wolves go and nick 3 points. Talk about Everton, please, Wayne, because it's just depressing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, Everton in 16th on 32 haven't lost since David Moyes has got there. 10 points clear of Wolves. I mean, if I was an Everton fan, I'd be looking at that and going, Premier League next season. Would you not, Wayne?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny, we talked about Crystal Palace and Everton, who were all around us, that we saw as potential we could get above. And just look how all the teams have flourished. I mean, Everton, I double-checked. I wrote down 3 wins and 3 draws, and I just had to go on the BBC site and just double-check that. And you're thinking, that is just amazing, really. And I did watch, Jim said he saw an article on, a tactical article on what Moyes has done at Everton to just change things. And he's just got them like getting a bit further forward and getting more people in the box. And he said that's transformed it. It's only a simple thing.
Are you listening, Rude? Get people in the box.
I know, and yet Moyes' reputation is, we don't want Moyes, he's a bit boring. But he loves Everton. He's Everton through and through. And he is obviously very skillful tactically. And they've always had some great players, but Dyche it was war of attrition, wasn't it?
Dyche, I think, would have kept them up. But yeah, Moyes has gone back there and he's just completely switched things around, hasn't he?
Yeah, I spoke to a couple of Everton fans and they said under Dyche, they said it was absolutely woeful. The football was awful to watch. Yeah.
But, do you want good football in the Championship or woeful in the Premier League? Brad, are you going to make your dad happy?
No, I'm not. Spoiler alert, I'm not. But not because I don't think Wolves can win this game, more because, I don't know, because I'm a Leicester fan and I'm sick in the head or something. I just want a stave of execution on Leicester's inevitable relegation. I've gone Wolves 0, Everton 2.
0-2. Wayne.
Wolves 1, Everton 3.
My God, sir, what a very insightful and clever prediction that is.
Here we go.
Because I have actually written down Wolves 1, Everton 3. So you know what you're talking about. Ignore that, Brad. He just makes the numbers up.
Do any of you guys know what length of ban Cunha is getting?
Well, it's a 3-match one as it stands. It could be extended. I think it depends on how solid.
Did you have a ban before this season?
Well, all I know is he's missing the next 3 games, which again, one won't be a miss for him because he's playing Derby County 2.0, but he's missing this one, the Everton. He's missing the Everton, that one, and another one. I don't know if there's anything worse going to come out of it.
I know the FA are trying to, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, they love to screw Wolves over, don't they? You remember the Gary O'Neill rants that he used to have about?
Yes.
About them?
Yes, indeed. All right, John has gone 2-1 to Everton. Whoa. Not quite agreeing with us. Craig's gone 2-0 to Everton. He is agreeing with Brad. You've still got time to change it, Craig. Prashant, he's gone for a point for Wolves and a 1-1 draw. And Blue Fox, what a nice guy. 3-1 to Everton, he's gone. Now, Brad, you've not been with us for a while. And
Chris, sorry. I know we're going to talk about them literally now, I believe. But Spurs just keep on Spursing. I don't know if you can see that.
1-0 down to AZ.
No, it's full time. They've lost. They've lost.
They
have lost in the last.
But this is the season that Spurs are going to win something.
Wins everything in his second season, mate.
Yeah.
Well, Kane's done well to get his move, hasn't he? Kane's moved at the right time to get some silverware.
Yeah, and he's doing well, in fairness. Let's be honest with you. He's with all the stick we gave him, he's doing very well where he is. But no, Brad, I was going to say you have been away for a while, so you won't know that we actually do Leicester whenever they're wherever they are in the list. So we are going to do Chelsea Leicester next.
Shocking. Absolutely shocking.
Well, if you'd been here.
No, it's just anyone would think we're just a bog standard football channel. What's all this not leaving people in suspense? Yeah, it's shocking. It's horrible.
Because nobody stopped till the end to listen. That's why. Everybody was leaving. Chelsea is 2:00 on Sunday, but it is not on TV. So what you can do, if you want to see a grown man crying into his soup, is come onto this channel and watch the watch along. Yeah, that's me. Yes. And I'll be very polite, obviously, about Rude and the boys, of course. Even though I did stick Wout Faes, Dakova Reed and Sumari in our worst ever Leicester team since 1884. They all got a place. I overruled. I can just say that if anybody's when I put a post up and I say this is what me and Craig have chosen, you will obviously disagree. Stick, who would you put in? And people are coming on going, what a stupid fucking idea that, who's picked him? Just come up with your own. Try and find where you put your brain when you were 7 and find it, dig it out, put it back in your head, and don't just have a moan. Actually, just put your point of view across. I'm sorry. You see, I'm presuming that some Leicester fans have got brains. Stupid me. Chelsea, Enzo Ball, Brad. I don't think we'd be doing any better under Enzo because I don't think we haven't got the players to play that system. We know. Chelsea let's have a look at what they have been up to. They are sat in 5th, 46 points. Obviously, they beat us 2-1 last time out at the KP. They beat Southampton 4-0 last week. They lost to Villa 2-1. They lost to Brighton 3-0. They did beat West Ham 2-1. Man City beat them 3-1. There's a lot of murmurings about fans not being happy with Enzo.
Yeah, we went through that and we won a league with him. So that just tells you that doesn't change no matter where you are or how you're doing. And to be honest with you, it kind of shows you not just how poor the bottom 3 is, but how poor this division is right now. And I'm sure come the end of the season it will change. But 47 points and you're sat in 5th. You're probably thinking that's got you about 12th, 13th for most seasons. So the fact that everybody else is just dropping points left, right, and centre just tells you he's kind of getting away with it a little bit. Because, like I said, at this point, come this part of the season, teams normally on about 45, 47 points. They're not up in the Europa League, knocking on Champions League doors. But like you said, Chris, when you're working with 455,652, players, and we 2,652 of them are goalkeepers, but still, when you've got that many players to work with, you're bound to get it right more times than not. It's just law of averages. Wayne, good luck.
Wayne, I wrote for the BBC this week. They actually put it up a day early on the Monday rather than the Tuesday. And I put basically eat, sleep, watch Leicester City, write how crap they are, repeat. Because I'm writing the same thing week in, week out. I've got nowhere to go with this. I don't know. Good luck, Wayne.
Yeah, it's like every week you're screaming, give me something to talk about.
Yeah.
No, wow. It's going to be interesting whether there is. I think Tom put his team up. He would like Braybrook in, get Braybrook in and different things. Like play Cooley back.
A very weird looking team. I have to be honest with you. He sent it to me.
Well, it is.
It may get an outing in the preview show tomorrow.
Go on, Chris.
I don't care. I don't think they're playing for him. I have to say, I really do not think they are playing for him.
But don't you think that if you got players that established players like Faz, Samari,
God, sorry, don't mention that name.
I know. But that's when, if you get the young kids in, they are hungry for the chance. You know, remember when you first, I mean, we were talking a couple of weeks ago about when you first start work, you're so hungry. You'll do anything. You'll sweep the yard with a brush stuck up your arse for your first wages, don't you? You're so enthusiastic.
Speak for yourself, that one, the way.
Yeah, but these players, you know, enthusiasm and youth and lack of fear. And I just hope he gives them the chance to have some credibility that some of the things that he said he was about as a coach and manager, he actually comes through and delivers on.
Yeah. How's that book going, by the way?
That's the only positive. That's the only thing you've got to say about Leicester, really. Yeah.
Well, how's that book going that you're reading?
I've used it as to wedge a door open. I was painting.
This is the Ruud van Nistelrooy from player to coach autobiography.
We run out of toilet roll, Chris, and had to wipe my arse. And the paper isn't really conducive to that. But you know what? It served a better purpose.
If that book's as strong as his managerial experience, I'm surprised that door stays open.
In fact, you could use that book for what you and Chris were laughing at about John Rudkin. Remember the old?
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah. The good news is apparently, I don't know if you've seen it on the Mercury website, but Ruud van Nistelrooy has said that Vestergaard's dog is fit and should be available to play. And all I can say is, I'd sooner have Vestergaard's dog in that back four than Wout Faes. But then again, you could play him in midfield instead of Soumare. I'm sorry, Brad, but as a defensive midfielder in our last game against West Ham, he made no tackles, no interceptions, and no blocks.
Yeah, which is still probably the same number as Wout Faes and Vestergaard.
No. Wout Faes made one tackle. Come on, don't you be...
now, come on, Chris. That's sympathy tackle. He obviously slipped over.
Probably. Prediction, Brad.
I tell you what, if I start from 1 and count up to my prediction, just tell me when you want me to stop. Because it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 with a big fat.
I'm not stopping you. You carry on, mate.
No. I nearly did. I looked at this game and I thought, I don't know what to go for. 5-0, 6-0, 8-0, 10-0, 15-0. But I stuck with 5.
So you're going Chelsea 0, Leicester 5.
No. Chelsea 5, Leicester 0.
You are going against your home team.
Yeah.
Ground.
Hold on. Let me catch the hypocrite here. Who cheered at 3 points against West Ham in the predictions league, Chris?
I've no idea.
Yeah, that's a good way. Yeah. Somebody on this panel, I won't name names, but somebody called Chris went West Ham 2, Leicester 0, and went, get in 3 points in the prediction league on the post match. So,
no, I think you're confusing me with somebody else.
Well, if that's the case, then, Chris, let me edit the table and send you some dot points.
I think that was my identical twin brother sitting in for me. Wayne, what have you gone for?
This is the only score I didn't write down in advance, and I agree with Brad. I mean, if Palmer, who has been on a drought lately, if he sort of thinks, fuck it, let's go for it, he could get 3 or 4 goals. So I'm going to say Chelsea 4. I'm going to have Leicester to score 1 goal, actually, because I think if he does play with Tom's team, which I think Leicester might get a goal, depending on whether it plays the attacking formation. Brad, you all right? You got a headache, Brad?
Both of you should hang your heads in shame. You call yourselves Leicester fans, and one of you's gone 5-0, and the other one has gone 4. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed to be on the show with you two guys. I'm really, anyway, I've gone Chelsea 3, Leicester 1. Anyway.
What's that saying? You can't piss into the wind, can you, Chris? That's the thing.
I tell you, I'm embarrassed with both of you. I'm embarrassed with both of you because you've had the broad cheek to think that this team's going to score a goal.
Excuse me. Own goal.
Oh yeah, okay, fair. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, we never said that we would score a goal. It was Palmer forgetting that he had, and he said Carlton Palmer then, but it's Cole Palmer forgetting that we'd swap tens at half time.
Right. Yeah, and Sanchez missing the back pass and kicking thin it. I like it, Chris.
Yeah. Cucurella getting his laces, boots mixed up and slipping on the goal line.
Yeah, that's what we need. We need a battle of wild phases.
I was going to say, can you imagine Mark Faze and Cucurella? They'd be sort of, hang on, we've got a hair tangled. Is there a hairdresser in the house? Oh God, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry, wouldn't you? Prashant's gone 4-1 to Chelsea. John's gone 3-0 to Chelsea. Craig's gone 2-0 to Chelsea. Yay! Blue Foxes got 1-1. Well done, sir. Enzo couldn't got Ayew or Reed in, definitely not Skip. I tell you what, I'm sorry. I'd have Skip and Winks over Sumari at the moment. Sorry, Brad.
Yeah, one bad performance in the redemption season, and Chris jumps on your grave.
One?
Yeah.
One?
Yeah.
I think not, sir.
Well, I think so.
No.
And hold on a minute. When did it become
it's my show, and I'm unanimous in this. Anyway.
I'm sorry, but I think you're all being harsh. A one-man bullying army, and when the whole team is shit, no iron team.
Talking of shit, Spurs are playing in the next game, and they are at home to Bournemouth. Spurs are in 13th place with 33. Probably safe. Bournemouth in 7th on 43. As Brad pointed out, they've just been, not knocked out. Was that the first leg?
I think so, yeah. I assume it's just the first leg. But
first leg of the European that they've lost. Earlier in the season, Bournemouth beat Tottenham 1-0. Look, I hate to sort of say everything bad about Spurs, Brad. We'll come on to Bournemouth next, but they are having an awful season, not helped by Postologo, whatever he's called, Shitalog or whatever, coming out at the start of the season and say, I always win something in my second season.
Yeah, you've kind of just lost the respect of probably some players and the fan base by saying silly things like that. Why would you say something like that at all? It's just it's just going to come back every week pretty much and bite you on the backside, and it's what it's doing. They're not going to win a cup this season, let's face it. It's just going to go horribly wrong for them, and it's going to be a notable double. I feel like it could get worse for Spurs. It's just been one of them seasons. Honestly, Chris, if the bottom three clubs weren't so terrible this season, and Wolves were a little bit better with their form, or didn't hire Lopetegui, got this man in and didn't stick with Gary any longer, they would be in a relegation fight. They really genuinely would be. They are grateful that the likes of Wolves, Ipswich, Leicester, and Southampton all exist in the same season.
Indeed. But Wayne, in fairness, and look, I live 10 minutes drive away from Bournemouth. When I go, I can park on the ex-boss's front driveway, and it's a 2-minute walk to the ground. It's my local team, and I can remember when I came down and they were minus 17 points in the 4th tier, and then they employed a ex-player who'd never had any managerial experience before, a gentleman called Eddie Howe, and the rest, as they say. And I'd love it, as Kevin Keegan would say, love it if Bournemouth could get into Europe. I mean, it would just be the complete fairy tale up there, I think, with Leicester winning the Premier League. And it's great to see them doing so well. They've got a great manager, and, he's got them punching above the weight.
Yeah, and for a small club, I think when I watched a match of theirs on Sunday, and they got they've got so many injuries, and all the players, I don't know whether they're in the executive lounge, but it's just like a bloody box on the end of the stand. You know what I mean? It's just such a small club. But
the fourth stand is actually a temporary stand, and it's been temporary for about 3 years, built on scaffold. But I mean, they actually lost to Brighton 2-1 last time out. They did lose to Wolves 1-0. They beat Southampton 3-1 in one of the South Coast derbies, but they lost 2-0 to Liverpool. But they did beat Forest 5-0. So since that Forest win, they have struggled a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah, they've gone off form a little bit, and all the games have been quite tight, to be honest. And Bournemouth, in a couple of games, they've had the chance to go ahead and kind of and sort of get on top and probably win the game. They just haven't taken the chances. I think they were unlucky with a penalty. I think they had a shout for a penalty on offside. But there's such an exciting side. He's a great manager, and when you think the Eddie Howe, what he did at Bournemouth, and they always punched above their weight. They've always played young. They've always played young players, and they are dynamic when they go forward. My God, they've got like Kirkes, who they reckon Liverpool are interested in. He's probably valued at 40 million. And they've got Clivert, who I've had to get in my fantasy football team because he's such a high-scoring midfielder for points. And they're just really exciting. They're just a really good side to watch. And when you watch a lot of like your Forest, your dynamic Premier sides, it shows you how rubbish and static and snail-like we are when we attack forward.
Indeed. Score prediction, Bradders.
I kind of gave the ball away before I remembered to pass it on to Wayne, which is, passing a ball on is something that Leicester players don't know how to do. I've gone for a notable double. I think the small club Spurs will not have enough to overcome the mighty Bournemouth, and I've gone Tottenham Hotspur. Sorry, Chris, I'll say the name properly. Tottenham Hotspur 1, AFC Bournemouth 2.
All right, and Wayne.
I'm going 1, Spurs 1, Bournemouth 3. It's interesting what Brad said about the size. Look at the size of the grounds. Spurs grounds and Bournemouth's.
Yes,
bonkers.
You could fit Bournemouth into the outside loo at Tottenham. Are you ready for this, Brad?
Yes.
I have gone.
Yes.
Tottenham 2.
Yeah.
Bournemouth 2.
Moving back a week, double Desmond. Things you love to see.
I just think Tottenham, they have put some good results together. But unfortunately, they just can't. They beat Ipswich 4-1. All right, it was Ipswich. They beat Man United. They beat Brentford. Yes, they lost to us. But every now and again, they do pop up with the result. But Bournemouth, home or away, we should be together. Sorry, home or away, went off on one there. Are just good wherever they play. Let's have a look what people are saying in the crowd. John's got to go, but he's gone for a few here. Tottenham 1, Bournemouth 2. That's what Prashant's gone for. 2-0 to Bournemouth, says Craig. And then we're on to different games then as well. Okay, so the next game up, which is on TV, which is Man United versus Arsenal. It's the 4:30. That previous game, Spurs Bournemouth, was on TV. So this is the 4:30 kickoff on the Sunday on Sky. It's our last but one game. Man United Arsenal, as I like to call it, the has-beens versus the never-beens. Brad, Arsenal have thrown it away, and Manchester United, this is the season for them just to consolidate and hopefully rebuild from here, isn't it?
Hopefully not. It'd be hilarious if their struggles continue. If we think as Leicester fans we've got deadwood that needs clearing out come relegation next season, then Manchester United have, way more problems to worry about. Not just a leaky roof, but a leaky defence, a leaky midfield. A drought is only appearing in the striking department, and a board that cares probably the least about their club since Mike Ashley and Newcastle.
Well, they're down in 14th, Brad. They lost this one 2-0 earlier in the season. They only just beat Ipswich 3-2. They could only draw with Everton. They lost to Spurs. They lost to Palace and they managed to beat Fulham 1-0. I mean, I certainly don't think. I think Manchester United have just got to accept their time has gone. But even if your time has gone, they shouldn't be as bad as that, should they?
No, they really, really shouldn't be. I mean, it's funny. It's funny, Chris. I can't even pretend to sympathise. This is hilarious. This is up there with Derby County getting 11 points, Sunderland getting 14 points, and Sheffield United getting about 14 points. This is hilarious to see. And, again, the only sour grape / annoyances on it is any other season 4 or 5 years ago, they'd be in a relegation dogfight where they deserve to be. A bit like Spurs, they're very, very fortunate that the 4 teams right down there aren't up there with Everton on 30 plus points, because otherwise they would be crapping themselves. And long may it continue, Chris. I hope they keep blaming the manager and not the players, because there is clearly something abundantly wrong with where they were 5 or 6 years ago under Mourinho, when he had them winning the Europa League and coming second, to where they are now. So, long may it continue, Chris.
Yeah, Mourinho got them to second. Solskjaer got them to second. Apparently that wasn't good enough. But they take that now. Wayne, I said Man United were the has-beens. Arsenal are the never-beens. How much of an argument can you put up for Arsenal winning the league? I mean, they drew with Nottingham Forest 0-0. They lost to West Ham. They beat us 2-0, but let's be honest with you, that's not exactly the hardest thing. They did beat Man City 5-1, but they only got the 1 goal to beat Wolves. This should be their season. There's no Manchester City there. This should be Arsenal's season. But yet again, they're not doing it, are they? And they're not going to win it this season.
No, they're not. 13 points off Liverpool. The son-in-law, he supports Arsenal, and he's gutted this season because he thought with them buying Rice, that was it 100 million or something to pay for Rice, that he was going to, with a couple of additions, but they just struggled. They struggled up front. What's the forward? It's Gabriel Jesus. And they should have gone out in January. The Arsenal fans are saying they should have gone out in January, bought a striker. They're not got a striker. They can't score goals. But they did, interestingly, they did beat PSV 7-0 in the Champions League, which links to our manager. And does that show you the standard of...
I don't think you can blame Arsenal beating PSV on Rude. But I know what you're saying, mate. I do know what you're saying.
But I mean,
his fault, this.
I know. So I think that was mentioned in the book that I've not quite read yet, and I'm probably never going to read. But Arsenal. I think Arsenal, the second or third, probably second. But I mean, you could be second, but you're way off it, aren't you? Yeah.
You're not remembered for being second year after year. I mean, it used to be Arsenal fourth. Now it's just Arsenal second all the time. Was it one of your kids that bought you that book, by the way?
Don't ask me questions like that, Chris. Again, I just hope. I'm
just thinking whether you've taken them out of your will or not.
Yeah, I know. I could have them. I could take them to court for mental cruelty.
Yeah, I think you could. Brad, Man United, Arsenal. What you going?
Oh, I mean, Arsenal scored 7 midweek. They won't score that many, but they will win. It's going to be Manchester United 0, Arsenal 3.
Okay. Wayne?
Man U 1, Arsenal 3.
Ooh. Maybe I should change mine then. But I know I've gone Manchester United. Are you ready for this, Brad? Manchester United 1, Arsenal 2. I haven't quite gone the 3 as yet. Doug is in. Hello, Doug. How are you doing, mate? I hope you and your fam are well. Manchester United 1, Arsenal 2 went Craig. Just going back up here. Man United 2, Arsenal 1, says John. I'll have a pint of whatever you're having. and Prashant's gone Man United 1, Arsenal 3. Now, we're there. We've made it to the end, and now the end is near. And yes, we've reached the final curtain because it's Monday night's game, which again, would you believe, is on Sky. Who knew? West Ham, who are in 15th, have got the man everybody wanted to come to us, but never was. But sat in 15th with 33 points and probably safe, West Ham, up against the resurgent Newcastle, who sit in 6th with 44 points. Earlier in the season, this was Newcastle 0, West Ham United 2. But Brad, West Ham beat us 2-0 last time out without really getting out of first gear. Let's be honest with you, they'll never have an easier game than that, with the rest of their lives. They beat Arsenal 1-0. They did lose to Brentford and Chelsea. Before that, they drew with Villa 1-1. West Ham are safe, aren't they?
Yeah, again, tragically fall into that category of if the other, the last 4 of the Premier League were any good, they might not be, but this season it is safe. I don't think they're overly impressive improvement-wise. I do feel like he's obviously changed little things. He's brought players in that Lopetegui just fell out with. I don't know. Some players, it sounded like they sneezed too loud, and that was enough for Lopetegui to kick him out the door. So he's had the luxury of probably 4 or 5 key players in that West Ham team who weren't being picked for whatever reason. He could play them because he gave everybody a fresh start. But I don't think he's that impressive as a turnover as a manager. And I feel like they're safe. They are safe. 30 plus is safe. Let's face it. They're all but assured that. Next season will be the tell, because if they're sat in 14th watching paint dry 1-1 draws, they'll go, "Oh my God, what are we doing?" So yeah, they've had the manager bounce that lasted longer than a game, which is all ours did, or a game and a half if you want to say, against Brighton as well. But yeah, I don't think they're actually that impressive under Potter. See what we're saying this. Well, we won't be talking Premier League next season, so I don't know why I'm saying that. But maybe we might bring it up. When he gets sacked in November for them being bottom, Chris. But yeah, they're safe, but they're not. They've not had an Everton dynamic, have they, Chris? No, so it's not impressive, isn't it?
Newcastle turned it round though, Wayne. They had a really not a very good start to the season, but they lost to Liverpool, and then again, who hasn't this season, 2-0. They beat Forest 4-3 in a 7-goal thriller. But then the week before that, they'd lost 4-0 to Manchester City. They lost 2-1 to Fulham, but they beat Southampton, but then again, who hasn't, 3-1. Do you think that Eddie Howe can ride this storm out, or do you think this is the worry that I kind of saw when he took over, that he was more of a stopgap manager and just sort of in that transition period, and then they'll go and get a big name from somewhere? Or do you think, they're up to sort of 6 now, they're only just off one part of a guaranteed European place. Do you think, they'll stick with him?
That's interesting. I think if this season, because you look at the league position, although they are 6th, you've got Bournemouth, Brighton, Fulham, Aston Villa, one or 2 points behind. They are stuttering. Isak went through a long period where he just wasn't scoring. I think Joe Linton was injured for quite a while as well. So they have been stuttering, Newcastle, no question about that. And they've been playing in Europe as well, haven't they? So, all that money hasn't transferred to anything. In fact, the son-in-law said they either had to sell Isak or Gordon in the summer to meet financial fair play. But luckily, they managed to sell Sue Younger. I think sold somebody to, is it Palace? There's a young midfielder. He's on the verge.
They sold Baxman to
Elliott Anderson, that's right. I think Elliott Anderson sold him for 20 odd million. But that shows you that they got taken over by a country that could buy most Premier clubs, and they can't spend a penny. In fact, they nearly had to sell Gordon or Isaac. So I think it doesn't matter what manager they get, they are struggling. And apparently Gordon's suspended now for 4 weeks, 4 matches, something like that. Did he get sent off in the last match?
He'll miss.
They've also got the League Cup final against Liverpool a week on Sunday. So you can't see him winning that. So I could see them getting nothing from this season, sliding further down, to be honest.
I've got to give them credit, though, that they have got all that money, and yet they're not doing a Manchester City. They're not trying to bend the rules, are they? But Brad, West Ham, Newcastle, which way are you falling on this one?
Yeah, I get what Wayne's coming from, but I tend to disagree with him with his feeling. I think when they had that fall off in form and they couldn't win a game, I think it was about 6 games. That was maybe the moment where he thought, right, here's where the stopgap runs out. They're going to sack out Eddie Howe, show the true colours, and replace him with, like a Mourinho or someone like that. They stood by him, and he got them running again. I did, as you may know, well know, Chris, I live with a Newcastle fan, so I did chuckle when he was sitting around going, we got Fulham, we're going for that record-breaking game. And I did sort of remind him the last time he was going for a record-breaking win in the Premier League, they played a certain Leicester City and Emil Heskey took them apart. So they lost to Fulham. I'm not saying history loves to repeat itself, but apparently it does. So having said that, again, I don't think West Ham are that impressive. That Arsenal result was impressive in its own right, but I think Newcastle are going to win this game, and I think they will get European football come the end of the season. And I think Eddie Howe's the man to keep doing that over and over again. So I've gone West Ham 0, Newcastle 2.
That's got to be the longest score prediction we've ever had.
Save the best till last, Chris. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Gee, I was wondering if there's a prediction in there, but there was. Love you, Brad. Love you. Wayne?
I'd say West Ham 1, Newcastle 2. And Eddie Howe, I mean, he did brilliant at Bournemouth. They all fought tooth and nail for him. And the same in Newcastle. They do love him up there. And I hope he's a future England manager, to be honest. 1-2, 2-1 to Newcastle.
2-1 to Newcastle. I think you're right that he is a future England manager. It depends, I think, if Tuchel manages to cock it up. I think we'll be going back to buying British. And I think Eddie Howe's the only guy that's got a chance of getting that. I agree with both of you. I've had 2 Desmonds tonight. And I'm going to leave it there because I'm going to go 3-1 to Newcastle. West Ham 1, Newcastle 3. There we go. Sunday afternoon, 2:00. But be ready for this. We've got Added Ant on Monday night. Not Adamant. Prince Charming. Yeah. No, I thought that was a good impression. Sorry. Oh, I'm living.
Where's Diana Dawes? I'm expecting Diana Dawes to come in.
No, I'm saving her till later. Hey, you know what? You should come into my world every now and again. It's lovely in here.
Do you have to bring my own straight jacket, Chris?
Yes, bring your own. Yeah. Monday nights at 6:30. Sorry, we have got the new weekend review show, and Ant from Ant's Leicester Fan Channel is joining us as a regular host on that. So looking forward to that on Monday. We've got tomorrow at 6:00. We're doing the preview with a Chelsea Fancast. Looking forward to that. All the shows, obviously, apart from the live show, is available on podcast. Sunday afternoons, guys. At least we can have a good Saturday before we get our weekend ruined late on Sunday. Talking about ruining your weekends, though, guys, I'm back on the weekday breakfast show. on Dorset Riviera Radio. Not this weekend, next weekend. So you can wake up with a smile and then it can all go downhill after that. Check out the podcast available on your favourite podcast platform. Brad, thank you very much, young man. I'll see you Sunday. Wayne, Jen, as always, thank you very much as well. Yeah, we'll have a look at the table next week. Don't think there'll be much changes, to be honest with you. I think some of us will be higher than others, you know, only because he can't make up that many points in 1 week.
I can try, can't I? I can try.
Yeah, you can make it up Brad. 3 weeks. Picking up on me. Thanks very much to everybody that's been in the chat and joining in with your predictions. Prashant, thank you very much as well. Thanks to everybody that's been watching. See you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Thanks so much, guys. Take care.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
That will conclude this evening's entertainment.